Every single person in the movie theater in the opening scene of this movie needs to be slapped across the face. You don't talk. You don't mess around while the movie's going on. You sit your ass down. You can do your little oohs and ahs, but you don't fucking talk during the thing. These frickin' people. Scream 2! Released in 1997 and is directed by Wes Craven, who is behind such films like Swamp Thing, A Nightmare on Elm Street, The Hills Have Eyes, Scream 1, Scream 3, and Scream 4. And this movie is starring Neve Campbell, Courtney Cox, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Jamie Kennedy, Jerry O'Connell, Liev Schreiber, a very young Jada Pinkett, and former WCW champion David Arquette. It's been a couple of years since the events of the very first Scream movie, and those events have been turned into an actual feature-length film called Stab. Meanwhile, Sidney and all the other characters who survived the very first Scream film are now attending college, but still you can see the effects of the previous serial killer on them. Well, all of a sudden, people start being murdered on campus, and it's clear that there is at least one copycat or multiple copycat killers roaming campus trying to kill Sidney. And just like the very first Scream film, this movie is very meta, and it acknowledges the meta-ness of this movie through talk of other horror sequels, or how just like any sequel is far less great as the original is. But of course they give examples of times when that is not necessary, in terms of like Empire Strikes Back, The Godfather Part 2, Aliens. But you get the gist of it, like, hey, we know that this is a sequel to this other horror film, so we know that many people, they're gonna be comparing each film to each other, so we know that this is not gonna be better than the original for a lot of people. We get that, but we're gonna give you a lot more kills, we're gonna give you a lot more blood. And the kills in here kinda up the ante on the first one. I definitely think there's more blood, which, again, that's one of the rules and one of the tropes of horror sequels and horror franchises. You have to up the blood count and the blood amount in each sequel. In terms of the kills, though, they're pretty similar. They're pretty much the same, and whoever is playing the Ghostface is just like a bumbling idiot until they actually finally catch the person and stab them. Up until that point, it's basically a Three Stooges cartoon. Like, how does Ghostface ever catch these people with just how chaotic and how stupid they are in trying to get them? It's because the victim is always stupider than the Ghostface person. I'm not gonna run out the front door, I'm gonna run upstairs to the balcony or to a room that doesn't have a window. I do like that we get a little Greek theater in here that makes the professor and me very, very happy. We have a little rendition of Agamemnon, and hell, even the climax of this movie takes place on a theater stage on the set of Agamemnon, so that made me very happy. I wish I would have known this, and I wish I would have seen this movie before. I would have shown that clip for my students so they can have a sense of what Greek theater was like back in the day. Yes, that's right. I haven't seen any of these Scream sequels. I've only seen the original, Scream 2, all the way through Scream 5, of course, leading up to Scream 6 that comes out later this month. I've never seen before. So how these films were never spoiled for me, I have absolutely no idea. But I do like this slasher film genre because it's fun trying to pick out who is the killer amongst everyone in the cast. When I was a kid, I definitely stayed away from horror films. Mom and Dad never let me watch them, so I definitely remember seeing previews for Scream and all the other Scream films, but never got around to watching them until today, finally. And I think they're enjoyable. This one, it's definitely not as great and as original as the first Scream. I think the first Scream is very intelligent, and the way that they use character and the way they use the tropes of slasher films and horror films to influence the script itself, I think is very smart. They're doing the same thing here, and it's kind of just rinse and repeat a lot of times. We do get some kills throughout, but I feel like we go through a long period of time where there is nothing, where there are no kills happening. But of course, once we get to the end, we see just kill after kill after kill, so it felt like it was just holding it all up until like the last 15 minutes. Neve Campbell returns as Sidney in this film, and she's a big overactor in these movies. She's very over the top and very emotional character at all points. She definitely uses her breathing. She definitely uses a lot of her breath to convey how she is feeling to an audience. There are a lot of times where she's like intensely breathing, which in turn, me as an audience member, I'm starting to breathe deeper and more rapidly too, just because I'm starting to freak out as well. So I think she does a good job here. It does feel like she's getting bored already, and I think she's in like 2 more sequels, so we'll see where that goes. It just feels like she's here because, oh, it's the sequel, it's a paycheck, and it's fine. I'm not doing anything else with my acting choices, so okay. David Arquette has a limp at points in the movie whenever he decides to. I thought for sure, and maybe this is a little spoiler, but I thought for sure that with this limp and this little like nerve damage he had in his hand, that that was all being faked and he would end up being the killer. But yeah, small spoiler, he's not. He's totally fine. I know he's in the next one. I don't know. He's at least in the next one. I don't know about the fourth. But David Arquette, he's fine. All these actors here are just fine. It's your standard college film from Hollywood, so you have a lot of staged parties that when I'm watching, I'm like, that never happened. For at least for me in college, I don't recall ever hearing about parties that look like this on screen. I love Hollywood's idea of what college is. Scream 2, I think it's a fine sequel. It's definitely not better than the original, but you know, we got some fun parts in here. Who ends up being the killer? It was pretty obvious at one point, and it ended up being that person for me. So good for me, I guessed it correctly. But I'm still interested. I'm still interested in the franchise to see where this goes. Again, these aren't supernatural killers, so is this gonna be like a different human being each time doing this stuff? Like, how many people hate this character of Sydney that they all want her dead? What did she do? Like, seriously. I'm gonna give Scream 2 3 out of 5 Blu-rays.
Not exactly what I had in mind, but not bad.
So guys, if you've seen Scream 2, what did you think about it? Or if you've never seen it before and you stumbled across it because of this video, then comment below, let me know what you thought about it. And as always, if you like what you see here, if you like my take on movies, then hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit that bell. See you the next time I'm releasing next movie review. So guys, I will see you next time on the channel, but in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, and go watch a movie. Take care, guys.